And look at that, I'm live. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Mysteries After Dark. I am your host, Jerry. I really need intro music. I'm telling you, this thing, I never know when it's really going live. I don't know if you've, done Facebook Lives, but there's kind of that lag and you're just sitting there staring, waiting, hoping that you chime in at the right moment. Anyway, another year older. Yes, I made another trip around the sun this year. Yay. Oh, God. You know, it's just another day. That's what I say. All right. Well, I'm going to try to keep tonight's episode fairly short, at least as short as I can. Attention spans and all, and yes, I'm guilty of that myself. So I'm not picking on anyone. Aside from that, I hope everybody's having a good weekend. So tonight's episode, this one's going to be a little bit different and hopefully short. But I will tie in familiar topics. However, this is something that I feel needs to be talked about. And like I said, it is going to be a little bit different, but I am going to bring back some of our favorites. I was recently on the phone with someone who I've known pretty much their entire life, and because of this person's clearance and rank in the military, when they say something, I listen to them. I take it in. After that phone call ended, I stopped at my local gas station. I go to quite frequently. I have a very unhealthy addiction to Diet Pepsi, as it turns out. And so I stop up there, and I was privately speaking to a friend of mine that works there, but apparently loud enough that it was overheard by another gentleman who said, hey, I'm in the Army and everything you're saying is untrue. You're crazy. And, okay. So obviously, doing what I do, I came home and I did some digging. And like most of us, I turned to the internet to see what I could find. And, to see if anybody else has been talking about these topics. I wanted to know if there was any validity behind what I was told. And while I was doing that, I came across some articles that got the conspiracy part of my brain kicked into high gear. So I spent, I don't know, at least an hour online searching for answers and seeing some interesting posts and articles. And after this, I reached out to some of my contacts. And I know that sounds weird. You have contacts, but Jerry, you're not a news anchor. How do you have contacts? Blah, blah, blah. I'm not a news anchor, but for reasons that are my own concern, I know quite a few people with high rank within the military that have served most of their lives, adult lives, and some of those friends have moved on from the military to alphabet agencies. So before I get any further in tonight's episode, I want to state right now that this has nothing to do with politics. I'm not bringing politics into it. Hell, I'm not even affiliated with a political party because I try to keep that out of my life. It's just a headache and it's turmoil. So, in all honesty, with everything that's been going on the last year, 2 years, 3 years, I feel like we have more pressing matters than, go team red, go team blue. I just don't care. It doesn't matter what side of the argument, as far as politically, what side of the argument you come down on in regards to what's occurring in the Middle East right now. And in all honesty, your opinion has no relevance. Neither does mine. I just want to get to the facts. With that said, the events that take place over there, they could have a huge relevance on your life, on your family, on my life and my family as well. And as things continue to escalate, there's a very real chance that Turkey might get involved. And they're not going to be on the side of the Israelis. They're not going to be with Israel, which means if Turkey, if they do become involved, they will strike against Israel. And if that moment occurs, if that happens, we have just crossed over into perilous times. The United States, for those that do not know, the United States and Israel have signed multiple bilateral defense cooperation agreements to include a mutual defense assistance agreement in 1952, a general security of information agreement in 1982. Let's see what else we got. A mutual logistics support agreement in 1991 and a status of force agreement in 1994. So if Israel is hit, I mean really, really hit, I'm not talking about what's occurring right now. If a nation goes against Israel, we are obligated to defend them. And the reality of this scenario is that Israel, even though it's not publicly admitted to, they do possess nuclear weapons. And if Turkey engages in an act of war against them, there's a very real chance that the outcome would be something we haven't seen in 80 years. Let's put it that way. And yes, I am referring to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And once this happens, this, my friends, is when things get bad, because Turkey is a NATO ally. So they are a part of NATO. And as NATO, they decided a long time ago that a strike on one is a strike on all of them. And I'm sure you've heard that, especially in the news right now with what's been going on. So America will find itself in a very precarious situation of supporting Israel, but at the same time, NATO will possibly be stepping onto the battlefield supporting their ally Turkey. And if this seems too much like a Tom Clancy novel, God, Tom Clancy wrote some good stuff. But keep in mind that we have and we are moving aircraft carriers and destroyers into the Persian Gulf right now. So it does seems like things might be heating up. And to make matters worse, it seems China is eyeing Taiwan, and they have been for a while. And we do have a United States security partnership with Taiwan. So, worst case scenario, but there is a chance we could get dragged into two separate conflicts. If our defense technology, and this is the scary part, if it is, at the level that our military claims, if we really do lack the ability to intercept hypersonic missiles, if we are not far more advanced than what the government tells us we are, than what the military tells us we are, then we have a serious issue. The only thing that really kept us, alive during the Cold War was something called MAD, M-A-D, Mutually Assured Destruction. Not like Mad Mysteries After Dark, totally different. But for those unfamiliar, essentially, if a foreign nation struck America with nuclear weaponry, we would unload our entire arsenal, ensuring that both countries would be decimated. And, if we keep chugging down this path, if we, keep heading right towards that cliff, the outcome could be devastating. Now, I did an episode the other day talking about UAPs. That's the new terminology. We used to call them UFOs. But hey, let the government control the narrative, I guess. Nothing wrong with that, right? But in that episode, I mentioned that these craft seem to take an interest in our nuclear weapons. It seems that many people within the UFO community believe that these extraterrestrials will not let us destroy ourselves. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about that idea. We have primitive tribes, South America, off the coast of India, pretty much everywhere, and we study them. And if these tribes, are within, one of these tribes, they suddenly started, massacring each other, we would not intervene. We would just let it play out because we have a no contact deal going on where we will not get involved. So with that in mind, I would say there's probably a good chance that these visitors, they wouldn't intervene either. But then again, if all the feel good people, the people that go on talk shows talking about how these visitors, these aliens, they're here to help us and to save us and guide us, if those people are right, then they would not allow us to destroy ourselves. They would protect us from ourselves. And what we're seeing play out, it's all, it's nothing more than political staging. It's nothing more than bluffing, because the leaders of these countries would be aware of that fact, that there would be an intervention stopping this slaughter. And I hope those guys are right. I really do, because humans, we love to find new ways to kill each other. We love to come up with new ways to harm and to maim and to destroy. Unfortunately, if they're really going to intervene, they probably should have done it by now, but I digress. So another situation that I was made aware of by my friend I was on the phone with is that our military is horrendously understaffed. Only the Marine Corps and Space Force met enlistment numbers. And I'm going to be honest, I know a lot of people do funny memes about Space Force. And I have to wonder, given when it was started, after the reports that came out, is there something going on there that the general public isn't aware of? And just the name Space Force sounds kind of cool. I mean, it's not as cool as Starfleet, but I would sign up. I'm just too old. I think you got to be, 20. Anyway, no, I'm just messing around. But the Navy, Army, and Air Force, they are so understaffed, in fact, that it has become a considerable hurdle that must be overcome. I was enlightened to the fact, while I was on the phone, that very quietly the military is preparing to propose a draft. And members of Congress, they are already on board, some of them. They've known that the numbers are dropping for quite a while. This has been a trend. This isn't new. If you remember, it was back, and again, I'm not playing politics, I'm just outlining what occurred. It was back in 2021 that we had a few Democrat senators propose forcing women to register for selective services. If you don't know what that is, that's called the draft. You sign up for it. We all do. If you're a guy, if you were born a man, when you turned 18, you had to sign a piece of paper stating that if Uncle Sam needs me, I'm ready to go. So after I laugh because I'm nervous. So after I was informed about what's going on behind the scenes, I decided to, as I mentioned earlier, take a look online. And my question is this: if no one's worried about there being a draft, if this is something that shouldn't even be on the radar, right? Then why do we have, I don't know, a dozen articles like I ran across and I read that came out within the last just few weeks stating, no one needs to worry about a draft. No, they're not thinking about reinstituting the draft. Why are we even talking about that if there's nothing there? And is this just like how, there was no need to worry about a train derailment? Or how there was no need to worry about a tiny fire? We don't need water for that, do we? No, nothing to worry about. Then suddenly we have thousands of homeless people whose lives have been destroyed and is in shambles. So I don't know about you, but when I hear the words, don't worry about something, coming from our government or their mouthpieces, which is unfortunately the media, that's when I start to get concerned. That's when I'm a little worried about what's really going on. So I decided, because when I first started doing this, I was using, as we all usually do, Google. And I started using DuckDuckGo. Love me some DuckDuckGo. and decided I'd dig in a little bit deeper in regards to this alleged draft that no one needs to worry about. Oh, Lord. So I did find some very interesting things. But the one that stuck out the most is referred to as the hybrid draft. And when you think about it, they're not lying to us. It's not going to be a regular draft. Oh, God, no. We're not that type of country, right? So they're just going to potentially institute something that will, make you sign up if you're interested in being drafted into the military. If you're interested in going to the front of the line, you're not being forced to. And this draft doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be on the front lines. No, you could be drafted for medical work. You could be drafted to be a paper pusher. So you see, there's nothing to worry about, right? Because in a war, we don't need people on the front lines, do we? That never happens. So is anyone else, here's one for you. Is anyone else aware that there was an F-35, those real fancy airplanes, F-35 strike on a cruise missile that was headed towards the heart of Israel? That seems to me like it should have been a big deal, but apparently, it's just getting swept under the rug. Nothing to see here. Nothing's going on. Despite news articles saying no one needs to worry, I have 3 people, all of whom should know what's going on, and they are all of them telling me that things are getting very unstable. I have 3 people that are genuinely and authentically concerned, telling me things like, you should probably stock up on food and maybe have a plan in place in case things get dicey in the very near future. So when I hear that, yeah, I get a little bit concerned. And let me go ahead now and bring this back to the normal topics of Mysteries After Dark. In past episodes, I have mentioned the dramatic increase in reported sightings of unusual phenomenon that's been going on here recently. And at the end of 2022, we saw an uptick of Mothman sightings. Hopefully you're familiar with Mothman. If you've ever listened to one of my episodes, I've done a few on Mothman now, or where I've touched on it. And on that note, you should watch a movie called The Mothman Prophecies. Oh my God, it was so good. But in short, this entity, this creature, this cryptid, it is often witnessed before devastation and tragedy strikes. The most well-documented case of this occurring was actually the inspiration for that movie I just mentioned, the Mothman Prophecies. And with what happened there, and it was a tragedy, 46 people lost their lives when the Silver Bridge collapsed. And many people, and I'm not going to get into all the details because I want you to go watch that movie. That movie actually covers it very well. But many people believe that the Mothman was attempting to warn people or perhaps even caused that tragic event. But I'd like to propose another possibility. What if these things, we'll call them, what if they are watchers, an entity or perhaps a group of entities that know disaster is about to strike, and for whatever reason, they wish to observe the calamity. And in a way, this kind of reminds me of that movie, The Gathering, with Christina Ricci. And when did that come out? 2003. I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% certain that it came out in 2003. Very good movie. You should definitely watch it. It does have some religious undertones. In short, basically, the people that gather to watch the crucifixion of Christ for no other purpose just to watch a spectacle, just somebody wanting to see a crucifixion, right? Those people, or that small group of men and women, they were to be punished because that was a naughty thing, and their punishment was being forced to watch every catastrophe that would ever occur. They would never grow old. They would never die. They would forever be trapped on earth. And whenever there was a great loss of life, they would find themselves at that event in that moment. And back to Mothman, it isn't the only paranormal or cryptid type creature that has been reported in the last 2 years. And it seems as though each year we've seen a steady, increase in reported paranormal sightings. It really wasn't that long ago that you might, occasionally get an unusual report, or something would be uploaded, a fantastic video of some unusual specter. But here lately, the reports of paranormal apparitions, ghosts or shadow men, these have been on a steady increase. And as I've said in prior episodes, it almost seems like there is an event coming our way, that we are racing towards, some moment in time that we are destined to collide with. And the strangeness, it doesn't end with just these reported sightings, as if that wasn't enough to make your skin crawl. We have once again started hearing strange sounds from the skies. This phenomenon, it has been reported on and off, I don't know, probably the last decade, maybe a little bit more. Excuse me 1 second. Had to take a drink. But again, as with everything else, the frequency and the intensity, it seems to have increased in the last 12 months or so. As of late, people have been uploading, videos to social media and YouTube where you clearly hear some, sort of a mechanical whirring sound coming down from the heavens. And, that alone, I would say, is strange enough. But it seems that the trumpets have returned. For those of you that do not know or haven't heard about this, we've had people reporting that they hear this, sound of trumpets echoing from above. And this was once a rarely reported phenomenon, but again, as of late, more and more of these sounds, these trumpets, are being reported and shared across the internet. These unusual sounds became so prevalent, in fact, that they captured the attention of academia and the scientific community. Even our own government became interested in what was causing these sounds. Unfortunately, the answers we receive, they're always mundane. They always have such a good explanation for what's going on above us and around us, and what this or that might be. Temperature inversions, nothing to see there. Excuse me. So, in regards to these sounds, they even changed the narrative a little bit. You see, people were talking about mechanical and trumpet sounds. Yet, when our what should we call them? Our intellectual superiors, when they looked into this, they changed it to skyquakes. That's right. Earthquakes in the sky. Why not? Sounds great. Diane chimes in. Hi. Hi. Just talking about earthquakes occurring in the atmosphere. Nothing to see here. Don't worry. And, we do have people reporting these sky quakes, but that is a separate sound being reported. And guess what? We don't have a conclusive explanation for those skyquakes either, do we? No. Sure, they offer us explanations, comical explanations, and here is why. They tell us one possibility is a military aircraft breaking the sound barrier above the continental U.S. The problem with this answer is the military banned breaking the sound barrier over cities. It's not allowed. If a pilot did this, they would be grounded, meaning no longer allowed to fly. Their career would be done. Then they tell us, well, it's just meteors exploding over the ground. But we track meteors exploding over the ground. And these sounds, they do not coincide with the meteors because, again, we track them. And the ones large enough to cause a skyquake, yes, I'm making quotations with my fingers, you just can't see it. We saw that over Russia in 2013. We have video of it, Chelyabinsk. So where's the video evidence of these meteors exploding, causing these skyquakes? It don't exist. They also tell us it's caused by volcanic eruptions or earthquakes. Okay. Where's the videos? Where's the reports of this happening and coinciding with these skyquakes? We have seismographs. We know when these things happen. The correlation doesn't exist. It's not there. So they are misleading us, whether maliciously or in hopes of, calming the citizens. But either way, they are lying. Sadly, the truth is, whatever the government knows and is keeping from us, it's most likely a secret. They will never share it, at least not willingly. Even when we do a FOIA, a Freedom of Information Act request, the people deciding what we are allowed to see, those are the same ones that are hiding the truth from us. We are, only allowed to have what they think the public is ready to handle. Unless, I don't know, maybe if we have some sort of information audit, like a third party group, someone not affiliated with the government or its agencies. And there's a lot of them. Unless something like that is allowed to happen, or those people are allowed to have unrestricted access to all the files, to review all of the black projects, the black budget projects, all of the classified documents that are, withheld in the name of national security. Until that happens, there will forever be this slow drip of information that we get. They're continually going to keep us in the dark. We're never going to get the full picture. And at this point, here's the question we have to ask. Who does our government truly work for? I don't know the answer to that. It isn't me. It's not we the people. There is an agenda of someone or some group, but it's not us, and we don't know what that agenda is or why we are continually lied to. And this fact, it's a disgusting reality that should frighten all of us. So, isn't that happy news? All right, guys. I don't know. Maybe I need to do a real happy episode to make up for like the last 6 of them. Because they haven't been happy. I don't know. I need to do some episodes about some unicorns, maybe bring back some cryptids and, talk about maybe do another episode of Mothman or the Jersey Devil or El Chupacabra. Something. Yeah, all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. So this concludes another episode of Mysteries After Dark. God, I need outro music too. I need intro and outro music. Thank you all very much for being a part of tonight's episode. Until next time, stay safe. Goodbye.